Dumoulin abandons. UAE have 4 riders in the lead group and don't coordinate in any way. This is the Volta Catalunya Stage 3 from Perpignan to La Molina. It's not the hardest mountain stage. It's the one of two. They finish on La Molina, but it has a false summit with 2.5 Ks to go. It's got like a 6K, 7% steep section. Valverde has won here 2 times, but there's so much sickness running through the peloton at the moment. We saw Michael Matthews, who won stage 1. I think dry retching. Dumoulin got in the car and abandoned. That being said, Movistar were the team that took it upon themselves to chase this break of 4 all day. They go up the Collada de Tozes. They'd gone past Puigcerdà. A lot of the riders are familiar with this area that live in Andorra, and they started the climb with Israel pacing for Woods, who also would be familiar with the area, but he would lose time today. Then Bike Exchange, pacing for third wheel here, Simon Yates. He would lose 10 minutes today. So either riders not knowing exactly how they're feeling or not communicating, I'm not sure, but Ben O'Connor, who wouldn't be able to win the sprint, attacked early in this stage. With the peloton 50 riders deep, no one reacted. No domestiques were able to go to the front with 8.3 Ks to go, and it was the other GC contenders marking each other out, and this gap goes to 15 seconds so fast. We have 3 UAE Team Emirates riders visible. We've got Higuita, Hindley, multiple Ineos riders, Rodriguez, Carapaz, Omen, Kruijswijk, Bike Exchange. So many riders, and no one took it upon themselves, at least straight away, to pace. Ivan Sosa for Valverde, who maybe didn't know that Valverde was in difficulty at this point. Nairo has an excuse in that he didn't really have teammates at this point, and O'Connor was storming the West Australian, went up to Van Dannebiel, who'd attacked, dropped him sharply afterwards. Eventually, Castroviejo, who wasn't in his top shape, still managed to do a decent pull for Ineos, but Ben O'Connor had that gap at 22 seconds. It was stable when Castro was pulling, but after he pulled off with 7 Ks to go, it's Carapaz on the radio, right there, saying Castro's done. He's got Rodriguez behind him. I don't know which one of the two is the leader. I think Buitrago for Bahrain 4th wheel. No one pulls. Carapaz pulls off to the side of the road. UAE have 4 in the group, and Juan Ayuso attacks. He was incredibly strong today. As he surges, it's actually Simon Yates going out the back door with 7 Ks to go, so probably feeling unwell with a group this large. And Ayuso's the phenom, the new Spanish wonder kid. He was incredibly strong today. They have Soler, Bennett, and Almeida in the group. Uno X and Ivan Sosa of Movistar marking it, but he gets brought back. So Ilan van Wilder attacks, and then another rider's going to attack, and no one's really getting anywhere, and this gap is hovering at 22 seconds, and if you make it to that false summit with 2.5 Ks to go, you're likely going to win the stage if you don't crack on the final 1,200, 1,300 meter pinch. So I was surprised that Hindley didn't pull for Higuita, given that Higuita's a punchy finisher who won in Foyer on Algarve like this. But I was more surprised that it was Juan Ayuso having to chase every move with Almeida not pulling, Bennett not pulling, and Marc Soler not pulling at all to keep this gap to Ben O'Connor stable, which has gone up to 25 seconds. And Ben O'Connor ain't no sort of average rider. He's a serious rider. I'll show you what he did in the Tour de France last year in a second. But then it was Trek. I think maybe that Toluk here. Skelmo's had tried. Harm van Hoek tried for Lotto Soudal. Now the gap's 26 seconds. He's doing his own pace. I think he did about 5.9 watts per kilo for 20 minutes to the false summit. Ayuso goes again, marked by Quintana. And so, yeah, it would go down to 19, 18, and then go back out again with Almeida and Rodriguez sitting in the group. But we've seen this a lot in the last 18 months. Out of sight, out of mind. Ben O'Connor, who got in a break with Quintana and Higuita. This is recent history. Last year in the Tour de France Stage 9 to 10 on a hard mountain stage, dropped Quintana, then put Higuita off the wheel and said, thank you very much, I'll see you later. And he took 4th on GC at the Tour. They're kind of acting like Sylvain Monniquet's gone up the road when it's Ben O'Connor cresting that false summit with a 24-second gap, 2.3 Ks to go. I think he probably knows the climb well. If you want to see Tristan Take Videos YouTube channel, those guys are always riding around this area in Catalunya or Andorra, so I wouldn't be surprised if O'Connor had recce La Molina before Catalunya and knew this false summit was there. And another UAE rider attacks. He's been sitting in the group, we haven't seen him, Trek are pacing, Omen and Kruijswijk are there, and it's Marc Soler, the Catalan man himself, the new signing by UAE, who had a surprising amount of freedom at Tirreno where Pog was, into a 25-second gap, and every second counts for the peloton here, and this actually stalls UAE behind, with Ayuso still feeling fresh. He's at the front of the group, but they're not going to pull when they have their teammate, quote-unquote, up the road, so it's flat across there, and that is what allows O'Connor to win this stage. That stalling in the last 1,500 meters with Almeida not taking it up for Ayuso early. I think maybe Howson attacked with Monaco, and eventually when they bring back Soler, Almeida is able to go to the front and pull. Whether he was trying to bring back O'Connor himself, whether it was a concerted effort for Ayuso, I'm not sure. I don't know who's the leader. I don't think they know who's the GC leader either, but either way, perfect time to attack from Ben O'Connor. He had the legs, more importantly, to pull it off as well, and takes another World Tour stage race victory and a nice lead going into the last mountain stage tomorrow. UAE, 2 riders in the top 5 with Ayuso winning the sprint for second. And if it was just this stage, I wouldn't really pick up on it. But we saw at Trofeo Laigueglia the other week, Ayuso was in a move with Alessandro Covi, both really strong. I can't remember which Intermarché was. Lorenzo Rota, the Intermarché guy. And those guys could not work together. They were arguing, in my view, about who was going to lead out who for the sprint. Ayuso seemed to want Covi to lead him out. Covi had won about 3 races up to this point and wanted to be led out. And so that nothing happened. And they got, I think, it worked out all fine in the end. You know, you look at the PCS results, it looks fine because Polance came back behind Rodriguez and won the stage and they gave 1, 2, 3. But that could have been disaster from a really strong position because Ayuso would have dusted Rota in the sprint or vice versa Covi if they let it out. And I think they let a stage go begging today with none of the riders willing to pace or maintain that gap to O'Connor, with Ayuso looking extremely strong. He attacked like 4 times and still came second, but credit to O'Connor, huge win, AG2 R's best rider. Takes the stage ahead of Ayuso, Quintana, Higuita 4th, Almeida 5th. Wild Poles, watch out for him sneaking top 3 GC here. Top 5 GC, Chicone, Johannesson, Guillaume Martin, and Howson. Tomorrow we have the last mountain stage up Boital, which is a bit of a harder climb than La Molina. The weather has brightened up a little bit, which is nice, but we are in sort of ski resort territory around this part of the world. I'll go see the start of the stage tomorrow because it's actually nice weather. Can O'Connor defend that 10-second lead against Ayuso and 12 against Quintana? Quintana is going to try, one would hope. It's up to 2,050 meters, a little bit higher than La Molina today, a little bit harder. It's one thing to go solo and keep that gap. It's another thing when you're the main focus and you get attacked tomorrow. Can't wait to see it. Hopefully it's exciting. I'll see you with the recap tomorrow. Ciao.